Hey, this is another episode of ENTA Ask, where we talk to companies who are making a difference here in YYC, changing the game and being innovative. Come check us out.
Let's have some fun. Okay, let's get started. We have a very special episode of ENTA Ask today. We have not one, not two, but three guests with us today with Britt Radius. We have Brittney Ramsay, the CEO and Vision Blazer. We have Dayna Morgan, the COO and Innovation Designer. And we have Britt Ramsay, the CFO and the Improvement Architect. And I really like these titles. They're really cool.
Thank you. So thanks so much.
Yeah, right?
I love it. And I mean, Culture Ninja, Ideas Gardener. So like as soon as we heard your titles, we're like, oh, our kind of people.
Yes, we like these people.
We could talk for days. And we're going to. No, I'm kidding. So last time we heard this amazing, very powerful story about how you essentially inherited Britt and became Britt Radius. And we're going to talk about how you kind of made it your own, that pivotal epiphany moment where it's like, hey, we're going to do this, it's going to be ours. But first, let's tell everybody exactly what it is Britt Radius does.
Sure, yeah. So we are a wickedly talented consulting services firm, and we help companies achieve compliance and acceptance for projects that impact people and land.
Awesome, I love it. So like big energy companies, big projects like that, anybody who needs to engage Indigenous or local communities,
That's right? Yeah.
Do all the land permitting.
Yep. You got it.
It's an intent to do that. Yeah. Like, there's an entire team of people who need to, it's intense. Okay, so that epiphany moment, you talked about it in the first episode. You came into Dayna and you said, I don't know if I can do this. And you decided, well, if I'm going to, it's going to be our way.
Yeah.
So tell me how that unfolded.
Well, I don't think we knew what we needed to do. We just knew that what we were doing was not working, and we were not happy, and we were not, authentic and real to ourselves, which means that when we were leading our team, we weren't dialed in right because we weren't true with who we were, and our culture suffered. Like there was days I didn't want to go to work. I didn't want to walk down the hallway, or I didn't want to go to the copy room. Certain people were in there, and I was like, this is not healthy. If I feel this way, how does the rest of the team feel? So we just started at the basics, like what are our core values? And they're like our core values as people and business. We can't separate them. It's one for us. So that's what we started. What are our core values? Why are we doing this? What is the purpose of this? What is the impact we want to make? What is the vision? Like when we're done doing this, what do we want to have? What's the legacy that we left? So those are the conversations we started. And then it was like, okay, we need some help. we have some of these ideas, we don't know how to do it. And we were young and inexperienced. So that's when we started to seek out business coaches and experts. And then it just kind of exploded from there.
So what are your core values, Breanne?
They are thrive together. 1 + 1 = 3. So that's our teamwork one. 100/0. So that's our accountability one. Believe it's possible, and engage fearlessly.
Yeah.
I love that.
Oh my gosh,
those are
that
great.
is so great. I absolutely love it. I mean, that resonates so much with us, right? Courage, innovation, trust, candor, and one of the things we like to say is the vision is the whole is always greater than the sum of the parts. Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, chill. Okay.
Yeah, so 1 + 1 = 3 is a core value that came from our dad. It was like his legacy of, he always said, you're greater than the sum of everyone else. Yeah.
Right.
Must have been a little nerdy then, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. So 1 + 1 + 1 is 100, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Wow. So you engaged some business coaches. You decided to do things your way. So maybe tell us a story about that. Like, how did your employees respond when you started
switching it up,
changing things?
Yeah, it was challenging. Not everyone agreed. Not everyone was on board, but we knew that was going to happen. And so we were okay with change. We were okay with some people choosing to leave. For us choosing for some people to leave, we needed alignment in all aspects. So there was some turnover. but for the most part, people really bought in. Like they were engaged because they saw us engaged, and they saw, I think, kind of a renewed life in a sense, because of how we were now showing up as leaders. So yeah, it was a bit rocky at first, but it worked out. Yeah.
Okay. Do you have, we love to tell stories on here. So is there any particular stories or moments during that period where you kind of, you commit to something, but then in the moment where you're tempted to kind of back down or maybe beat around the bush or something? Is there anything that comes to mind like that?
I have two kind of stories that come to mind. The first one is the floods. So there was the floods, and then there was the fire downtown, and we couldn't get downtown, we couldn't work. And at that time, we weren't able to work remote. We didn't have the architecture for it. And so we had work we needed to get done. We didn't know what we were going to do. We literally the building we couldn't get into. And when we could, we had to take the elevator and get all the files. And so we kind of send out like an SOS to the team, like, help us, we need help. We need to figure out what are we going to do. And they all met downtown at the building. They had headlamps and torches. They were climbing stairs and grabbing files. We got set up in a space probably like this size, and we all worked side by side in this little boardroom, making it happen for our clients and helping each other. And I just remember sitting there being like, this is so cool. Look at this team of people who literally 2 hours ago were like hiking up 11 flights of stairs to grab files, and now we're all sitting here working and figuring it out. So that was a really beautiful story. And my second one is, like, we've been in a few recessions now, but when the first kind of recession hit for us, we knew we needed to make some decisions, but we didn't know what to do, and we love our team and our people. And so we decided, let's engage them. 1 + 1 = 3. So we had roundtables, and people came, and we were like, okay, this is the issue. These are our hurdles. What do you guys think? And they had tons of ideas, and they were throwing out amazing ideas. And then we could map out really clearly what we need to do. And so it was very transparent. And I just remember thinking like how bought in they were to the company. Some of them were like, let's get rid of the cleaners and we'll clean the bathrooms. And I was like, wow, these people, we didn't do that. These people are, yeah, they are so committed. And we feel that same way back to them. So those were two where I was just like, wow, this team is like.
And that's the difference in culture. Like, it is so powerful. And companies who have it infused into their business like you guys do, they reap the benefits of it, right? But it takes effort.
Oh yeah.
To build a culture and to get it working.
Yeah.
It takes like that, and I think that's where a lot of people fail, right? Like they throw it up on the wall.
Yeah.
These are our values.
Yeah.
And they think that it's done.
Yeah.
No, it's hard. You have to do those hard things where you tell your people the struggles you're having.
Yeah.
Right? That is not an easy conversation to have.
Well, and that's what we talk about internally with our team is, especially with our management team, there is no neutral. You are either building up a culture or tearing down a culture. Every interaction, every conversation, everything you do.
Yes.
Is this building the culture or tearing it down? There's no neutral.
Yeah. Because inaction is action.
Well, it's so many tiny little things, right? It's the way where you put your values and write them down on your headers, or if you have it on a sticky note it's everywhere, right?
It's everywhere.
It's in the actions you take. It's behaviors.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing is it's like, don't even write them on the wall.
Yeah.
If you can't see it in your behaviors,
Totally.
there's no point in putting it on the wall.
Yeah.
Right? I just love that you're walking the walk, because it's not easy.
No.
Even when we hire, throughout our hiring process, one of the pieces is we share what our core values are, and we share a story around them, and then we ask the the candidates to complete and tell us how they align with our core values and to share a story of how they live them, because it's truly embedded in everything we do.
Right, and if it doesn't align at the interview, it's not a good fit.
That must be a little surprising. Like some people might get a little deer in the headlights for a question like that, because you're kind of asking them to open up to you. Right?
And that's what we do. It's super vulnerable. Working at Britt Radius, you bring your whole self to work every day. You show up on the good times and the bad times. The team has your back, but they only do that if you're vulnerable and open.
Yep.
So we expect it, and we know we're not a fit for everyone. We care about the human element. That is number one to us, and that means for us, like leading with love, being vulnerable, being open. And some people, it's not a fit, and that's okay. That we're not the right fit at that time in their life, and that's okay.
Well, I love this because I think that, I mean, you're blazing a trail, because I think that really being vulnerable as a leader is probably a fairly new age thing, right? And, you know, being female, C-suite, right? You're actually being able to show up as yourself, right? And I think that there's a whole bunch of, oh, well, you need a certain amount of toughness to lead a company. You need to be a certain way. No, screw that. Proof in the pudding right here. Yeah. You don't have to be, you can be vulnerable and lead strongly. Yeah. You can be a strong company and still have empathy.
Absolutely.
Right? And in fact, you've built something even stronger.
Yeah.
Because when you made that call, 911, everybody showed up to carry boxes downstairs.
Yeah.
So I'm really curious, like Breanne, you kind of, when the decision to do all this, when you were kind of building all this, you hadn't yet started, but obviously you were talking to Brittney. Like, were you aware, like, behind the scenes? Did you have like a sense of what was going on?
Yes and no. So a lot of our journey of where we have gotten to now, I was a part of. But there were pieces that I wasn't aware of, when I first joined. Yeah.
Okay. But it was the summer job
It was the summer job. Yes, yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, and getting to work with my sister and what we got to do and the team that we had really pulled me into it.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So I'm really curious now. Let's say I'm hired at Britt and I start tomorrow. So, like, what's the experience on the first day and leading up to that?
Well, we've already gone through a pretty robust interview process. We don't hire easily, so
You've cried already.
We know you inside and out. Onboarding a new team member is super important for us. It's those first moments where they get a sense of who we are and who the company is. So onboarding takes weeks for us. We like the new team member to experience a lot of different people within the company. So not only the people they're just going to be working with, they get to spend time with us. They get to spend time with each of our managers. We do something called an enduring agreement, where people that are going to be working together, or the person's manager, really gets to ask questions and understand how that individual thinks and works and what's going to work well with their relationship. So we try and do a lot of that early on, so we can set the new team member up successfully. And we do a lot of different kind of personality profiles and personality tests. And as you heard from our titles, that's a part of it, is understanding like who that person actually is, not only what their more formal title is. What do they actually bring? So yeah, we do stuff like that.
Yeah, there's some surprise and delight along the way as well.
Of course.
Yeah, so there's some little packages and gifts and things that we do along the way to really make that person feel special for joining us.
That's amazing. I love that. I'm going to ask a really difficult question. Okay, and this is a topic that I've asked a number of people, and no one's had an answer for, which I think is interesting. Typically in the project management world and just in engineering and land support, you measure hours and utilization, and that utilization can be a culture killer. How do you guys deal with that?
Great question.
That is a good question, one that we have dealt with forever. Because yes, we are traditionally, our space is billed for hours worked and hours billed, and it doesn't actually, when you think about it that way and approach it that way, it doesn't always bring out the best. It doesn't bring out the best in people or the best product. So, I mean, we still do a lot of that traditional time and materials billing, and we work with our clients though to figure out what is going to make sense for them, what's going to make sense for the project. We look at fixed pricing projects where we can, where it's like, you know what, you guys, the clients know the price, it gives them comfort, and we have to deliver. So there's different models that we've played with. In our space, some companies are comfortable with that and some are getting used to it. So it's about working with the client and seeing what can we come up with together. So that isn't a hurdle. Right?
And I think so the team's still like, yes, we need to build these hours. That's the only way we make money. But then we do a lot of fun events with them. So we make it really exciting and fun for them to come to work, which kind of changes that dynamic. And I think what we pay our team well, we really invest in them and their growth. So as 3 business owners, we take less profit because of that. And that's been a decision, well, partly our decision, partly what's going on in the economy, right? But for us, we don't want to change that dynamic so that, because we know our clients will get the best experience out of our company when our team member has the best experience. Then they want to do great work, right?
Right.
So we don't want that to suffer.
So you're not looking at your employee and saying, your utilization's down, come to this event.
No. No, but if their utilization is down, we're still like, come to the event, we're still paying you for it, we still want to do it. And then let's figure out, how do we get you more work? How do we build this? Or what do you need? Like, okay, these are the hours we want you to hit. How are you going to hit them? What do you need? Give them more accountability too. If we find when we let people have a say in what they do and how they do it, they get even more driven, right?
Naturally.
Well, and I loved how you said, if you treat your people right, if your people are happy, you serve your clients better. And I think that's a really cool topic to get into in the next episode, because really that's the point, right? So building all this culture and all this is so that you can serve your clients better and stand out and be the best, right? So in the meantime, if someone wants to get a hold of you guys, how do they get a hold of you?
Well, you can check us out on any of our social media platforms or our website at brittradius.com.
Amazing. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
We have a lot more great stuff for you, so stay tuned for the next episode to see what we learned.